Okay, this is Fluffy, and I'm gonna start a series, which is gonna be how to build a tank in brick rigs. Just like these. Yes. Okay. So, yeah, these are the tanks that I've previously built. They are German Tiger tanks, and all they are is they're just, yeah, I got, well, I, fumbling over my words. Yeah, let's just leave it at they're Tiger tanks. So, we're not gonna build these models exactly, but we're gonna try to build something like it, I guess. Well, not like it, but we're just gonna build a tank. So, oh, that's, oh, what? No, I gotta, there we go. So, get the editor, and as you can see, this is the tank I built. It has 538 bricks, apparently, so I was thinking it was more like around 600, but that's lower than expected. It weighs 17.5 thousand kilograms, which is, I guess, kind of heavy. Actually, that's really heavy. Yeah, it's not that, it's kind of big. And inside, of course, you got the engine, the seat, and everything nice like that. You get the wheels. But yeah, we're not going to be building this exact tank, because this is, like, it's got aesthetics in it. So, I'm gonna create a new file, and I'm gonna start building the tank. So the first thing you're gonna have to start off with for a tank is a frame. You need a nice, sturdy frame to build your tank off of. And by that, you can use these pieces. So, this piece has a few settings on it. So you got the color, you got pattern if you want one, and you have material. Now this material part, this is really where we're gonna focus, because each of these different materials are completely, yeah, they're completely different. And each of them has separate values of certain things, like weight, strength. We're not going to use foam for a tank. We're going to go over here and use steel for our tank to make it a nice gray. So this is going to be the base of our tank. Now, for a base, oh wait, you know what? We gotta set the requirements. So, to make a good tank has to be able to drive over any terrain, hopefully without damaging itself. It must be able to damage another tank with a cannon and or missiles. We're just going to use a cannon. It must be able to sustain damage itself and continue running at the same time, in which you're going to need a sturdy base. And this one, it must also be lag free if you're going to be using it against other players in brick rigs. So yeah, we get the base of our tank, and what we gotta do is we gotta have the seat, as always. because to build a tank you need a seat, and then you need an engine, which that's under vehicles. So you got multiple different engines. If you're gonna build a really heavy tank, I suggest using this engine. This is a V12 engine, and it delivers a lot of power. So we're going to use this, because it's probably going to be pretty heavy. And we're going to do some here. You see this tank steering? We're going to turn that on, because this allows us to, instead of turning normally like a car where the wheels turn themselves, tank steering is going to allow us to pivot on the spot. And so, but in order to drive, we obviously need wheels. So we're going to put axles down. And copy it over to the other side. And then we're going to find a wheel. I'm going to use this one. We can have 3 for now, but this is just like a sample tank, a sample build. So it's not really going to be anything like that I'm going to use against other tanks, but yeah, so I'm just going to do this. And this. And there you go. We got our tank. So I'm going to save this as... Oh, nope. Save as... Save new. And then I'm going to save it as... tank. I'm just going to save it like that. And it's going to be private. So here it is. Here's our tank. But it's not ready to drive yet. Because, you see this is spinning in the wrong direction. These axles are spinning in the right direction, these are spinning in the wrong direction. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to reverse the direction, invert direction right here, and now they're going to be driving in the right direction. However, these tires are also going to have to spin the opposite way of these tires if we're going to do tank steering. So invert tank steering. You save this. And then if we exit, you see we got a functional tank. Or not really a tank, but a tank chassis, I guess. So you got your functional chassis, and one of the things you're going to need to do is you're going to have to encase it, because if you just have the seat and the engine exposed like this, your tank's not really going to survive that long in the battlefield, because you and your engine are completely exposed. So you're going to get out of that, and head to the editor again. And we're going to open this file. So what you're going to do is all you really need to do is just build kind of a block around this area to protect the engine and the seat. In which you can just do that with these bricks, which is probably going to take a while, so I apologize for that, but whatever. Set it to steel, get a gray color. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna select by color, and I'm gonna make this red. A nice bright red. So this is gonna be what we did in the first video, which is build the chassis of the tank. And so what we're gonna do now is we're actually going to level it. This isn't gonna be like a really like. I guess this is just gonna be like a basic tank. So this is gonna be the first of a 3-part series explaining how to build a tank that that could actually make an impact in a battlefield. So you're just gonna keep building this up, and eventually we're gonna get to a point where we can start placing other pieces on it to heighten it even more, make it even better. But another thing you'll see I'm doing is I am overlapping these pieces. Hold on, So you see these are overlapped, like bricks. Like actual ceramic bricks. And so, the reason I do this is because of more connections to more bricks. And so what this will do is this will increase, or I'm trying to say, this will reduce the damage taken a little bit. Let me move this engine forward a little bit as well. So we get a basic box shape, and now we can just put this on top like this. Then we save it, and I'm going to capture the thumbnail real quick. And then back to default. And then we're going to exit with the vehicle. Now you're going to see I am peeking out of the top, but that's just because it's more of a sample vehicle. This isn't like an actual. So, if something hit, like, my little head there, I probably wouldn't survive, but, yeah. It's heavier, though. Because of all this extra weight we added, it's heavier. Let me back up these a little bit, so we don't. Okay. So I'm going to open this tank again. So as you can see, we went up to about 3.5 kilograms. And we have 34 bricks. Or, no, not 3.5. 3.5 thousand kilograms. And so this is way heavier than the other one. So if it gets to a certain weight, what you can do is you can increase this gear reduction on the engine. What this does is it lowers your maximum speed, but it provides more torque. So if I set this to 200%, this is a 1:2 gear ratio, and it cuts my maximum speed in half, but it increases my torque. Likewise, if I cut it down to 50%, this effectively doubles my speed, but it doesn't really do... It lowers my torque. So if it's like this, it's not gonna start up as quickly, but once it gets to a certain point, it's gonna be traveling insanely fast. Likewise, if I set this back to 200, it's not gonna be going as fast overall, but what it is going to do is it's gonna be able to accelerate faster. So I'm probably just gonna keep it at 200, because in other episodes we're gonna add more weight to this thing. So yeah, that's how you build the chassis of your tank. And what you could also do, in the next video we're going to focus on giving it an armament so that it can actually fight tanks. And in the third, we're going to give it armor so that it's able to sustain hits from other tanks. So, here it is. Here's the vehicle. It's a brick. It's literally a brick. But it drives. So you're not getting as fast as the other one. So, yeah. It's not as detailed as the other tank here that I have, but this is just like a sample. Again, just a sample. Okay, so anyways, I think that's gonna be it for the video, because honestly, that's all I really see that... Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm remembering our things, so it must be able to scale terrain without really much of a problem, because it's an off-road vehicle, it's a tank, off-road vehicle, so it's got to be able to climb terrain. Now this is probably not necessarily going to be a good example, but it's kind of, yeah. So you just got a brick, drives over terrain, might get high speed, wheels. But yeah, it's a tank, it drives, it's able to go over terrain, and yeah, that's the tank. So, it's actually something that you might also want to do, which is add suspension. So I'm gonna zoom back here with the tank, and I'm gonna enter the editor, open it, and I'm gonna do something to these axles, because an important part of tanks, which I don't think I actually did to the axle, is they still have suspension. So, let me find the suspension. So we got suspension length and suspension stiffness. So length is the distance that the suspension is going to go down, and stiffness is how much it will resist bouncing. So I'm going to set the suspension length to 0.1. And then, let's save this. Exit with the vehicle. And it doesn't really look like it did that much. Hold on. I'm gonna spawn in the air. So it's got some decent... See, it's got that... Oh, I'm actually surprised it didn't, like, fall apart. It still drives. That's cool. Okay, so yeah, you got that tank. I think we could increase the travel a little more. Suspension travel. So let's do this. Scroll down. Set it to probably 0.25. No, let's just set it to 0.2. So we got 0.2 in suspension length. And in suspension stiffness, I set it to 3. So it's going to be a little stiffer. I'm going to exit with the vehicle. And might as well... I gotta... I would just roll it away. Oop. So... it's got suspension travel this time. As you can see, suspension is actually working to absorb some of the bumps in the terrain. You see it. Yep. It's working to keep all the wheels on the ground. I think I'm able to climb that way. Whatever. So yeah, this is the tank. But, oh god, I forgot to mention the engineering design process, but that's fine. I'll mention it in the next video. Okay, so as I'm driving back down here to the other tanks, I am going to stop the video. So, yeah, this is what we've got so far with the tank. It's just a brick. It's got very exposed wheels. The only thing it would really be good for is troop transport, and even then it can only carry like one person. And if it's gonna actually do damage to anything, it's probably just gonna have to run. So probably just gonna have to go. And this is very fast. This is pretty much damage. Oh, it actually knocked the wheel off. Okay. So yeah. So you got this. This is what we came up in this video. So, next video we're going to focus on adding an armament to this thing. But anyways, that's it for this video. This is Fluffy, signing off.